your hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.
All done then at the Eden Gardens for a very happy Kolkata Knight Riders side, where Gautam Gambhir has managed to engineer a win against a side that he helped build at Lucknow. We'll talk about that game a little later. But for now, the rest of the IPL can step aside. The showstoppers are in action at the Wankhede. Mumbai Indians against the Chennai Super Kings yet again in the IPL. The tournament's great fixture, the success of the two sides, 5-time champions in one camp, 5-time champions in the other. But for the first time, Hardik Pandya's Mumbai Indians against Ruturaj Gaikwad's Super Kings. So it's a slightly different era, but we still have plenty to build up to. On Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Tom Moody is here, Wasim Jaffer is here, and Mitch McClenaghan, who knows a thing or two about this rivalry, is going to now take us into storytelling mode. You guys can just sit back.
Okay.
Sit back, throw away your board, get your coffee, pour
tea.
Something stronger.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because Mitch is now going to tell us the MICSK story from his fond years at Mumbai, 4-time champion that he was, including a final in 2019. Tell me seriously, we build it up like it's the biggest damn thing in the whole tournament. How big is it for a Mumbai Indians player?
Oh, it's massive. It is. It's one of those ones you put in the calendar. That and RCB for some reason.
Wow, they're not even. I
know they're not even playing, but those are probably your two main fixtures that you really get excited for. But CSK in particular, just because of the history, the finals that we've won, and CSK haven't against us.
Oh my!
Oh my! Joking. Okay, it's okay. I'm just joking. No, CSK. No, I mean, there's fierce rivalry, right? Because the two most successful franchises in the competition, and you know that they're a quality side, and they've got so many match winners. So there's always some pre-match nerves when you come to play against CSK, and it's got a different feel, a different buzz about it.
Yeah, I mean, if we just look at how this rivalry perhaps started building, it's nice to revisit IPL history in 2024 because it's now 16 years of the tournament, of course. And as we just look at how things went down for Mumbai and Chennai, since 2021, Super Kings have the vote over MI 4-2. Overall, though, Mumbai have just added to their record in recent years. 5-4 in playoffs, Mitch rightly points out, 3-1 in finals. At the Wankhede, most significantly, it is 7-4 to the Mumbai Indians. It's curious you say that, beating them in the finals, because this is for a team that travels reasonably well. They're formidable at home, and yet the Wankhede is their poorest in terms of returns as far as wins go. Not only that, second to that at any venue is the Chepauk against Mumbai, who found a way to have the Super Kings outsmarted at their own den. You can remember a number of games where tactical changes were made. And take us through just how Mumbai became the superior team after Chennai were certainly the better starters to the IPL in the first 5 years or so.
Well, it kind of swings, doesn't it? It's like every couple of years one of the teams goes well. I think the tactical one that I can remember was before 2019, the final in 2019. We had to travel to Chepauk and we had to take them on in their conditions in the first versus second. And we decided I'd just come off playing my game against KKR and bowling a maiden to in the over against KKR against Utapa, and got us through to that final, and then the decision was to go down there, and we went in with only 3 overseas players into a playoff game, and they were like, Mitch, you sit out. We think the conditions are going to be conducive for spin, and I think they went Giant Yadav, and he had an absolute blinder. So I think tactically, when it comes to games against Chennai, they weren't afraid to make big decisions. And I think that game in particular, that was the winning of us going through to that final.
How did you feel about that?
I wanted to play. I desperately wanted to play. You
were being very disappointed.
I was.
Until he bowled as well as he did, and you thought, okay.
No, because I could understand. I saw the wicket, and the wicket looked conducive. And I definitely said to Bondi and Mahela, I said, well, I'm pretty much a spinner anyway, so in these conditions. So surely I'm an option. If you want me to shorten my run-up, I can. But no, they said, no, mate, park it, sit down.
Why don't you weigh in as well over here? Because we see the traditional CSK that became perhaps the first team to build a reputation as champions with successive wins in the early parts of the IPL. And we know what their philosophy is. It's very It's centric around steady leadership, Dhoni, instinctive captain, wonderful captain. MI have almost been the opposite culturally, just smartly acquiring and building teams at auctions, and eventually have found their way into a better record against the Super Kings. A clash of cultures in some ways as we now look at how their journeys have reached till 2024.
Yeah, I think Chennai's, well, there's a good article, and I'm sure you can still pick it up on Cricinfo, but that Stephen Fleming was interviewed, and he talks about the simplicity of their approach, their philosophy. And I think that summarises CSK to a T, and that's why they have been so successful, because really from their game style right through to their recruitment, through to their management of people, everything is a very simple and structured process, where Mumbai's philosophy over years has been one of, we want the best players, but we've all got the same salary cap. But they have been very astute in the way that they have managed to recruit domestic Indian players of high quality.
Yep.
You only have to go back to the Pandya boys. That recruitment, you look back on that and think at the time, didn't think much of it, but then as the story unfolded, you've got two serious players. And Bumrah's another one. So, that's where Mumbai have been incredibly successful, is their retention and trade, just of recent, of domestic Indian quality players. And that's given them the strong backbone to their success.
And then on the flip side, Chennai have gone the opposite way and generally roll out the oldest team in the competition more often than not. And down to one of Fleming's philosophies is, he thinks experience wins you championships. So he'll go out and guys who other teams might think are getting older, a little bit more washed up, and they'll come to Chennai and they'll perform. And they get the most out of it because he backs the older guys to have the experience to win them games. So it's two types of different philosophies there, and both as good as each other.
Yeah, I mean, if we now try and break down the last few years, Wasim, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because CSK in the early parts of the IPL, MI then dominating right up until you could say the end of the pandemic or so. In 2021, once CSK won that year, after that and won last year when we thought their team was technically getting weaker and Dhoni was getting older and they're losing more and more players. Suddenly, there's almost greater appreciation for how CSK have managed to keep this championship winning mentality longer than MI, who after a squad reshuffle, there seems to be more of a storm at Mumbai Indians, more of a calm sort of consistency with Super Kings.
I mean, the kind of players that have performed for CSK has really amazed me.
Yeah.
Uttappa, Ajinkya Rahane.
Sure.
You won't pick them in the auction, to be honest, if given a choice. Shivam Dubey, Tushar Deshpande, Patirana, somebody who's just playing his first season. Those guys have come in and performed, even Shardul Thakur for that matter. And to get performances out of them is incredible. Even Raidu for that matter, he was finished in Mumbai and then came there and had a couple of championships there. Ruturaj Gaikwad was an unknown quantity. Now obviously
Shivam Dubey has also gone around to other franchises, not found.
So, to get the performances out of them is just amazing. To win 2 out of 3 in last 3 seasons is absolutely amazing, with obviously Dhoni not playing international cricket. Yeah. Whereas Mumbai have, after 2020, the kind of teams they picked in the auction have actually surprised me. They went to Jaffer Archer, who was not going to play that season, and then having no spinners at all, and then holding on to Kieron Pollard and leaving Hardik Pandya at that season, and things like that have really surprised me.
It's interesting here because Mumbai did make the playoffs last year in what we thought was not necessarily a team that had the bowling to make the playoffs, certainly the batting. Now there's Bumrah back. But what we do miss about the rivalry is the MI-CSK game at the highest level, when the stakes are at their highest, a final, like we last saw in 2019. And that is something that Mitch McClenaghan remembers fondly. Now this was, remember, CSK had returned to the IPL in 2018 and surprised many of us by going ahead and winning the tournament. And they came within 1 run or 1 ball of doing it back to back. Mumbai Indians stopped them at Hyderabad in a low-scoring thriller, shall we call it, which ended with Lasith Malinga bowling to Shardul Thakur. Mitch, Take us through that game.
Yeah, it was a fascinating game. The wicket was good wicket. It looked like it, and then us getting only 148. Deepak Chahar bowled beautifully, swung the ball up front. It's hard to hit at the back end, and Polly kind of got us out of a massive hole there to get us to a score, which we would have felt a bit nervous about if we hadn't have scored a score like that against Pune, which was pretty much Chennai at the time. So we knew if we bowled well that we could be in the game. Well, it pretty much was. It was Flem and Dhoni and Bravo and so there's
Bravo had gone to Gujarat. Just let you know.
Oh, sorry, he did. Yeah,
Jadeja, Raina, and Bravo there. So it's a little bit of Chennai, but I take your point.
Yeah.
Let's stick
anyway, back to the story.
Back
to the story. And then we did start well. We started well. We had them in a position where I think after the 14th over, they needed 12s. And at that time, you thought if it's anything above 12, that's with 6 overs to go, it's going to be difficult. And then just when you started to feel comfortable about the position you were in, Shane Watson just took down the next 2 overs. He took down Malinga first, and then we took a punt on Raunak Pandya to bowl, and geez, they were well back in the game, and it just swung there. It was such an emotional roller coaster, that whole game. And then for that last over, there was
there's a lot of drama in the middle of that. There were runouts that changed the course of it. Shane Watson included. A very close run out of MS Dhoni. We know which was just a few months after the World Cup final as well. Or a few months before the World Cup final as well, as I recall. And more importantly, before the game actually started, before we come to the dramatic finale, your selection itself was a bit of a surprise. You weren't expecting to play that final, were you?
Well, yeah, because the game before, we just went in with 3 overseas, and then John Yadav bowled beautifully, and Mahela said, oh, look, it'll be kind of out of you guys, depending on the surface. So I was like, pretty chilled about it, because there's no real stress the day before, because John had bowled so well, and I thought, well, Hyderabad, you can turn up there and spin comes into play, so I thought it might be that the case, and we turned up there and it was green. It didn't look like it was going to turn, so he walked out straight away, and Bondi goes, oh, you're probably going to play here, bro, and then Mahela gave a tap on the shoulder, so that's when the nerves kind of set in, but it was fun. It was a fun time. Yeah. Those finals are so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that happened that game. It was the end. I think Quinton de Kock missed 4 byes.
Missed 4 byes.
Of Bumrah. What was amazing was I remember Bumrah not getting angry about it at all.
He came and tapped his shoulder.
IPL final. And then they swung it back. And then that was one of the most heroic batting performances I've seen. Probably most people don't know that he had a big laceration on his knee, and as each over went by on the field, you could just see his yellow trousers go more and more red with blood, and I think his running between the wickets became slower because of it, and I think that's probably what led to that run out in the end. But that was one of the best finals innings I'd been a part of on the opposite side, and he really actually made you feel like he was going to take it away. And I know there was a big discussion before that last over. You've got one of the best all-time death bowlers in Malinga,
but he wasn't bowling as well.
He'd gone for runs in that game, and there was a consideration not to bowl him in that last over because of his previous 2 overs and how Watto had gone after him and taken him down so easy. And Hardik Pandya had bowled 1 over for 3, and he bowled beautifully. So the big discussion between Rohit and Pollard and Malinga was whether do they go with Hardik or do they trust Malinga? And from all accounts, it sounded like Malinga said, back me in. And when Malinga says, I can do it, you just give him the ball.
It's still a brave call, no? Because we look at that, Malinga has gone for 7 of his first, and then come the 2 overs where, especially the last one, where Shane Watson's taken him down. Now, Watson's gotten out subsequently, just towards the end of that game. But he was still batting, I think, going into the last over. Watson was still very much batting, and you throw the ball to Malinga, who was not the Malinga of his peak.
Oh, look, from my point of view, there's no hesitation. He's, arguably one of the greatest IPL bowlers of all time. We've been talking recently about Bumrah and how good he is. I think by the time Bumrah finishes, he'll be on par, if not above Malinga. But I think you got to, particularly when the bowler says, "Just back me," you're talking about a champion here, and that's when it's a bit like what you're saying about Shane Watson. You know, he's a champion. You know, you've got to back those people.
Yeah.
Like you talk about 2019 final, the 100 he got against Sunrisers Hyderabad in Mumbai, where he got 100 when we had Chennai on toast there chasing a good total. Again, a champion.
Yeah.
It's going to step up on the big moments.
And effectively, it came down to one ball, right? The story changes if Shardul Thakur manages to clip that for 4 or Malinga misses
just get a bat on the
and
ball,
it's a slow ball. Now, I know from having spoken briefly about it with Shardul, he said, I picked it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I knew he was going to do it, and I picked the slow ball, but it's a great ball to bowl.
There's a difference between picking it and playing it.
And playing.
Yeah, and you can sort of guess that he's going to bowl it, but then you've got to do something about it.
He was a capable batter back then as well. And all you tend to think so many things. Ben Stokes in a World Cup final has decided to punch a leg side full toss or leg stump full toss so as to not lose the game first. And then we take it to a super over and whatnot. There are many ways to approach a final, one ball final. Shardul's tried to flick him, but he's nailed that ball.
It was incredible. It really was. It was one of the most tense moments I've been a part of in a game. It was sensational. I was quivering at short fine leg, hoping he wasn't going to bowl a Yorker and inside edge it and go through my legs.
You weren't in a key position?
That is a key position to a Yorker bowler, mate. No, I wasn't.
What I'm very curious about is how McClenaghan has bowled 4 overs for 24. Excellent job on the day. But why he didn't save one of McClenaghan towards the end, to give you that.
I was bowling nicely. No, after the power play.
If I say so myself.
No, joke. No, there was a couple of key matchups for me in that team, and one was Rayner. So my job was to try and get Suresh Rayner out. Had done it in a couple of games we played previous seasons. So my job was to try and get him out, which we almost did. Almost had him gloved.
How are you getting him out?
It was short ball. So
short
initially, he pushes at the ball outside this length through here to nick him off, and then the short ball. So we actually got given out. Gunner gave him out, and then they reviewed it, and it said that it didn't hit his glove.
Oh,
so it was a technical issue.
It was
definitely
out.
hit his glove.
Was out. Okay,
it was
one of those.
It was out, but
Goodness
and then
that don't appear on the stats.
don't appear. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so there's no stat guru there.
Technology wasn't as good as it is now.
Stop now, both of you. Enough. I thought we listened to Mitchell's stories, but I didn't know that it wouldn't end. Yeah.
Well, let's just interrupt me. And then the other matchup was Bravo.
Yeah.
And so both those 2 overs to those 2 guys went for 3.
Excellent.
And so they was just a pure matchup thing. So that's which is key, right? In finals,
100%.
You've got to use the matchups.
You get man of the match.
No.
Oh. Okay.
Stop it, Tom. Anyway, all right, brilliant. Revisiting an MICSK final, and who knows? Who's to say that we won't get that at some point later this season? Of course, for the moment, the Knight Riders are sitting pretty with Rajasthan Royals on top. Mumbai Indians are trying to make their way up. CSK, it's a really important game for them. Everything they've won has been at the Chepauk. So let's just confirm the team, because Hardik Pandya has won the toss and put them in. We have 3 overseas players named here. So we expect Patirana to come in as an extra bowling resource in the second innings. Do not see any real surprise otherwise in that team. Deepak Chahar continues to miss out. So they would have been keen to have Deepak Chahar, who was the hero in that 2019 final, as we brought up. But they will still have to be without him. Shardul Thakur, Tushar Deshpande, Shivam Dubey, Ajinkya Rahane, lots of Mumbai boys who know the Wankhede Stadium well in that playing 11. But Wasim, they still don't have Deepak Chahar.
Yeah, I guess he probably is not fit. That's the only thing I can think. Otherwise,
it's a big miss, you think, though. Shardul.
Yeah, especially in the Wankhede, how Wankhede has played so far. First up in the first inning, it does swing, and he can get 2 down for nothing very quickly. So he'll be. They'll definitely miss him.
What you need against Mumbai, Tom, I'm pretty sure, is someone has to get them 2 down pretty quickly. Then there's a chance. The way they're batting right now.
And he's your man.
Yep.
Yeah, he's your Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, isn't he? Just the great power play bowler, swings the ball, and Wankhede does swing, so he'll be disappointed as much as anyone that he's not playing. So
these are numbers at the Wankhede, yes.
That is a big miss. That's a big miss for CSK. But the real plus for him is Patirana is obviously fit to play. So given they've lost the toss, and you can just about guarantee they would have liked to have chased that CSK, at least they've got the defensive backup with Patirana and Mustafizur as 2 very good overseas death bowlers.
You sense with the record that we saw a little while back about Mumbai strong favourites at the Wankhede. The toss makes it even more in their favour. Would have been a nice toss, in fact, for CSK to win. And
Yeah, from all accounts, the other night against RCB, it got very wet in the second innings and sounded quite difficult to bowl and even field. So it's a significant advantage winning a toss at Wankhede, particularly in a night fixture. So that's one little tick in the good guys column.
Very well. Let's confirm the Mumbai team, the good guys. Let's have a look.
Flem doesn't watch this though.
Oh, he watches everything. Right, let's...
You won't be getting a job there.
Mumbai are quite happy with the winning combination now. We can call it that. 2 wins out of 2 at the Wankhede. This is their last home game until they start travelling on the road for a while. So they're happy with Mohammad Nabi, even though he's not been called up to do too much. And, of course, the depth that Romario Shepherd provides. Shreyas Gopal looks like he has done enough to keep Piyush Chawla out of this team as the preferred wrist spinning option. And that is, of course, the bowling first 11. So we expect Akash Madhwal to make way for Surya Kumar Yadav come the second innings. Fair enough, or was there a case perhaps to still consider whether you can do more with that Nabi spot?
Yeah, I think, I like Mohammad Nabi as a cricketer, don't get me wrong, but I think it's an absolute luxury to have him as one of your 4 overseas players. And I think I would have, if Luke Wood was fit, I would have gone with him, which is pretty much what I said the last game. They played at home, particularly at Wankhede where the ball swings. With the new ball with Bumrah, he'd be a real handful. But I think it also reflects on the depth of their overseas options, that they haven't really got anywhere to move with regards to better options than Mohammad Nabi. So it's a safe bet because he can bowl an over or 2 for you at any stage of the game. And if the batting side goes pear-shaped, you've got quite a capable player that's going to come in number 8 that's got many seasons of experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the thing that they play such high-risk cricket. One way of looking at it is they're playing so well they don't need batting at 8. But high-risk batting from top to tail almost needs you
But you say high-risk, it's high quality to me, not high-risk. You look at Ishan Kishan, Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar Yadav, they're just high quality that have got the capability to play, a shot of ball, basically. So, yeah, there's an element of risk there, but there's a huge quality level there that takes a lot of the risk away.
Or high positivity. They're not looking to knock it around. They're like backing themselves to hit each ball but not reckless. Yeah, not reckless.
I mean, I'm curious to say that. I don't mean to go too deep into it, but as we look at T20 cricket, this is what we call the high-risk approach. Kohli is capable of playing this way. KL Rahul is capable of playing this way. But for whatever reasons, they don't adopt such a high-risk approach. They are capable of hitting balls, aerial, and there is a chance like Rohit Sharma, you'll get out in your 20s or your 10s, or Ishan Kishan that you do it. But this is how you cultivate this kind of approach?
Yeah, with so many batters here.
I think you need to just reframe what it's called. It's not risk, it's high impact. That's what you're looking to play, is a high impact innings. So if that means 20 ball 40, or if that means what we saw about 2 weeks ago now, Romario Shepherd's 10 ball 37, wasn't it? 39. They're the real game changers.
Sure.
And now with this impact sub, it allows you the luxury to play not high risk, high impact.
Right. I guess Nabi also, can we see him possibly playing a bigger role today than other days? You've got quite a few left-handers in that team. There's Rachin, there's Dubey, there's Ravindra Jadeja. Can Nabi be a more potent resource here, or is this mainly going to be about the seamers?
Well, I think barring Shivam Dubey, he can bowl to the other left-handers. Shivam Dubey is a high-quality spin hitter. It doesn't matter if it's an off-spinner or anyone. He'll keep hitting it. But other than that, Rachin Ravindra, he can bowl to, and the other, probably Ravindra Jadeja might come in a lot later. But he can squeeze in 2 overs of him before Shivam Dubey comes in. So, probably in the power play as well.
I think he'll take the first over tonight, I reckon.
Mohammad Nabi.
Yeah,
possibly. But there was a time not too long ago in the season when Hardik Pandya was taking that first over. Hardik Pandya is not bowling at the moment. We saw him finally at least put in an over. But rumours of perhaps him not feeling at his fittest. Is it important that Hardik Pandya bowls here? Or is it not important given they're winning anyway?
No.
I think for the World Cup, India wants him to bowl. And if he doesn't bowl, it does create question marks.
Can he do that sort of closer or later towards the end of the tournament? Well, the squad is going to be announced, and I think it's fair to say he's going to be part of it regardless of whether he's bowling at the moment or at that time or not.
What is his fitness issue, though? That's what puzzles
It's
me.
pure speculation that
Yeah.
if he's not bowling, he's obviously managing something. He's
Yeah.
either worried about some part
Yeah,
or
but
by
when-
now he would be bowling. I mean, it's not like other
Whenever
bowlers
he's-
are bowling.
Even though when he's bowling, he's not that effective anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the only thing. Can he play just as a batter? Is the question. If you have to pick Rinku Singh or Shivam Dube for that matter,
Sure.
will you pick him just as a batter? That's the question mark.
Yeah, well, it's a very good question. I think you'll see him bowling pretty soon. So that question doesn't have to be answered.
Maybe as soon as today then, right? Players are making their way out. There is plenty that we'd like to discuss over here. Very quickly, his options though. The one area that CSK would have discussed is as good as Mumbai have been playing, forget their batting, their bowling is still vulnerable. They might be scoring 220, but they're also conceding nearly as many as 200 a game. They did so against the
Ruturaj
Capitals.
is
They
not
almost
opening.
did so in the following game as well against RCB. So let's just have a look at the use of Gerald Coetzee, who becomes an important bowler for the Mumbai Indians. Economy of 11s at overs 1 to 6 and 7 to 16. The death, he's going at 9s. Is that tempting you into using him in a certain way, Mitch?
We've spoken about this. I think he's got better. I think he started in that game, obviously, against Sunrisers where they got pumped. And I think his stats are skewed from that. I think he's had more impact than that. As the games have gone on, he's got better. He's been that enforcer role in the middle to come in and try to attack guys with the short ball. I think he's been pretty good. Every now and again he's bowling the odd loose ball, but that's just, he's still pretty raw and young, so you expect that. But in terms of the impact he's having on the game, I think it's been pretty good.
Well, we have a surprise coming through as Ajinkya Rahane is opening the batting at the Wankhede. Tom?
And I reckon that's because the person that's opened the bowling is Mohammad Nabi. So maybe they want to not line up as two left-handers at the top of the order.
No, they would have-
Ruturaj.
Oh, Ruturaj, sorry.
So what's happened here? Is it Rahane and Gaikwad or Rahane and Rachin?
Rachin.
Is it Rachin, is
Ruturaj
it?
Gaikwad is not opening.
Yeah.
Okay, so is he batting
So
three
must
then?
be batting
Wow.
three, yeah.
All right. I had a question of where Daryl Mitchell would bat because he's been the floater as we run through his entry points this season. And that's also to do with Rahane being off the field in the last game, having to bat a bit later than allowed. But they've used Mitchell as a floater, but this has just changed things up. So let's get a reaction here and try and understand what's going on. Because it's not Gaikwad, it is Rahane who's come in with Rachin Ravindra. Tom, makes sense.
Yeah, I'd like to give you a sensible answer, but it's hard to get my head around, particularly given that Gaikwad had such a good innings in the last outing. So the confidence in that position is there. It was a bit of a breakthrough innings for him, particularly with the responsibility of captaincy and what have you. But I'm sure they've got good reasons, and he would have been part of that reasoning, I'm sure, with Stephen Fleming and MS Dhoni.
I think maybe they feel like they haven't been using Rahane as a resource. I feel like he's a very good power play batter. He times the ball beautifully. He performs well historically, opening the batting at Wankhede.
I mean,
very
sorry, but
aggressive.
simply, but I can't remember Gaikwad not batting in the top two
Yeah.
since he became the player of repute that he is right now. So he was asked a question, Flem, wasn't he, about whether Gaikwad's going slow, and he had to sort of come out and explain how important it is, and Gaikwad takes some time. Does this help in any way Ruturaj Gaikwad, who has been a little bit under pressure this season, taking over the captaincy and not quite having the impact at the start? Can you find a way to think that this helps Gaikwad? Is there a matchup we're missing here with regards to perhaps Bumrah or anybody else as to why Gaikwad has not come out at the front and a little later?
All I can think probably is for him, Ajinkya Rahane, to come out and play more aggressively than what he's doing, and then they can probably steady it down. Or the Bumrah probably threat to Ruturaj. That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah.
It's probably to get the best out of both of them. I think this is a position that you're going to get the best out of Rahane, particularly in these conditions.
Well, he's not out there to have a go because he's faced 3 balls for 1.
Yeah.
But he'll take on the seamers.
I'm very keen. I want to keep
He'll
this
take on
going
the
now to
seamers.
see what happens next. Who comes in second, who comes in third.
He'll take on
Unfortunately,
the
we need to
pace.
wrap this show and we still have the impact zone to get through. So let's get into
There
it.
you go.
As we see a short and anger from Rahane. I'll come to that in a second, but impact zone very quickly. make this really quick, gents. And we've thrown in a spanner now by seeing Rane come out and not Ruturaj Gaikwad. So I believe it was, was it Wasim who started first in the last game?
Tompkins. I'll go first.
No, he started.
I was about to pass it to Tom, but then last time I did
You will go last because this is your game. You know this better than anybody, so you're expected to win. Tom.
I'll go Bumrah. Just to annoy him.
Why'd you do that?
All right. Wasim, bowler.
I'm going to go Pathirana.
Very well. Mitch. So disappointed.
Yeah, I don't really like anyone else.
No Mustafiz.
No, I don't
I'm
want
sure
to
they're happy to hear that.
Sheesh.
Kodzia.
You reckon Kutsia? Yeah, I'll go Kutsia.
Could have gone Hardik Pandya, I thought. But anyway, Wasim, batters.
Batter.
He's not a bowler, though.
No, he wouldn't count.
Today he's going to bowl 4.
I'm going to go Dubey.
Ooh,
Mitch.
yes.
I'm going to go Surya Kumar Yadav.
Very well. Tom.
I'm going to go Rohit Sharma.
Excellent. Wildcard
Thank
time.
you.
Mitchell McClenaghan.
I'm going to go Ishan Kishan.
Very well. Tom.
I'm going to go Hardik Pandya.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go Rohit.
So done.
I think Rohit's done. Right?
I've got right.
Oh, you got Rohit.
Apologies for that, sorry.
You're so much kinder when Wasim makes an error here than you are when Mitch is. I've just noticed that.
Don't you go stirring.
I don't know who's left.
Oh, a lot of players, sir.
I'm going to go Ruturaj.
Okay. Middle order batter for the Super Kings.
The finisher.
Captain. Yeah, the finisher perhaps. All right. I don't even have time to pick, so I'm just going to forget about this and leave it to the
that's
three of
good.
you. Yeah. Right, we leave it there. Predictions quickly. First inning score. An outrageous pick. Wasim.
I'm going to say it's going to be more than 200.
Got to give a number.
Number 205.
205.
I'm going to say 196.
Anyone giving me an outrageous pick?
I only go for 211, and I'm going to say,
Big scores.
I'm going to say the Kutsia is going to go for 45 plus.
I'm going to say Shresh Gopal is not bowling more than 2 overs.
I'm going to say Shivam Dubey will hit 2 sixes in his first 10 balls.
Okay.
His first what?
10 balls.
You're joking. That's an
2
outrageous.
sixes?
Yeah.
That's standard.
He hits the first one for 6 for fun.
I
Please,
think
Chairman, come in.
2 sixes in his first 10 balls. I'll allow it if you say 2 sixes of pace in his first 10 balls. Of pace. Against pace.
No, that's ridiculous.
They're not gonna bowl it.
Make
Two
it
sixes
three.
are out of the stadium.
Make it 3. No, make it 3 and you've got it.
They're not gonna bowl
Three.
spin to
Three's a
him.
fair
Make
deal.
it 3 and you've got yourself a deal.
I'll just change my whole pick. Someone's going to get out within 12 balls. Who's it going to be?
Gosh,
Oh, 12 balls. I said 12 balls. 12 balls.
So Rachin Ravindra is going to get out within 12 balls.
excellent. All right. And, I can't help myself. So I am going to pick, we've just found 3 players that they haven't picked. So I'm going to go Daryl Mitchell, Tushar Deshpande, and Tilak Verma. And I think I'm winning today.
Okay.
Right. We will see you at the end of a surprising start to the CSK innings. Let's see how it finishes. Join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Download the mobile app if you haven't already. We'll have you covered with this extremely big game in the IPL. And let's see how the Super Kings go after their batting.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.